Now on NBC Palm Springs, Attorney General Rob Bonta attempting to block the Riverside County's office election probe today. We've got the details coming up in a full report that's ahead. Also tonight, a preview of the No Kings rally all over the valley on Saturday, as many are voicing their frustration with the Trump administration.
More heat records are set in the Coachella Valley. NBC Palm Springs at 8 begins now.
Now, connecting the valley, this is NBC Palm Springs.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for staying with us after tonight's baseball game. I'm Mark Mester. The legal battle over Riverside County's alleged vote count irregularities continues to escalate, reinforcing the clash between California Attorney General Rob Bonta and Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. Our Alondra Campos tonight with the very latest.
A high-stakes legal showdown is unfolding in Riverside County as California Attorney General Rob Bonta moves forward to halt Sheriff Chad Bianco's investigation into alleged irregularities in the November 2025 special election. The Attorney General filed an emergency request known as an ex parte application, asking the Superior Court of the state of California to act immediately and stop the investigation from proceeding while a judge determines the legality behind it. At the center of it all, a citizen group that claims there is an alleged 45,000 ballot discrepancy between the ballots cast and ballots counted during the special election in 2025. Although election officials explained this was due to a misunderstanding of the vote count process and not fraud, Sheriff Bianco launched an investigation in which he obtained 3 search warrants, seized around 1,000 boxes of ballots, and stated his deputies would hand count the ballots to determine the cause of the discrepancy. Sheriff Bianco, who is also running for governor, has stood by his investigation despite Bonta's previous failed attempts to stop it, calling the operation a fact-finding investigation.
I'm calling it massive irregularities in in the reported number of ballots we have and the number that the machines said that it spit out at the other end. And so the only way to get to the bottom of that is to count the ballots to make sure what's right. Is it the registrar of voters count? Is it the machine count?
On the other hand, the Attorney General has publicly disagreed, claiming there is no evidence a crime was committed and argues the continuance of the investigation oversteps his authority over California's sheriff departments and could undermine confidence in the election process. The head-on feud between the Attorney General and Riverside County Sheriff has led local leaders to weigh in, including Riverside County Supervisor Manuel Perez, who stated, open quote, "Earlier this year, I reluctantly supported the effort to verify the vote count from November's special election. I fear that this exercise will take resources away from frontline programs. Our registrar staff are capable and committed, and I hope that the actions of this week do not undermine the public's confidence in the important work they carry out." End quote. First District Supervisor Jose Medina also shared his stance with NBC Palm Springs in regards to the validity behind Bianco's investigation.
I see no evidence whatsoever of any voting irregularity. So for the Riverside County Sheriff to somehow decide that it should be incumbent upon him to seize the ballots from the Riverside County Registrar of Voters is at a minimum very upsetting.
The controversy over the investigation has also introduced a discussion about the balance of power between local and state authority.
Who county sheriffs report to or who they have to answer to. And apparently our Sheriff Bianco, doesn't believe that he has to answer to anyone. And I do think that this incident is another example of why we need sheriff oversight.
The Attorney General's office has confirmed there is a hearing set for Friday morning on the ex parte application to set an expedited briefing schedule. For NBC Palm Springs, I'm Alondra Campos.
Our thanks to Alondra for that, and further details involving this story this evening. Indio Council member Oscar Ortiz announced via social media he joined Riverside Council member Clarissa Cervantes in the court order, asking the California Supreme Court to mandate the voting ballots to be returned to the legal custody of the county election official. Ortiz is represented by the UCLA Voting Rights Project. He states in part, quote, "There are legal ways to handle resident concerns over election processes and fraud investigations, but those pathways do not include elected officials seizing ballots and counting them in privacy, as our sheriff has admitted," end quote. My hope is that this court order will get these ballots back into the hands of those who are legally allowed to handle them. Whether they are law enforcement or elected officials, they must follow the legal process to ensure a fair and accurate vote count for Californians and for the rest of the United States of America, end quote. Riverside County Supervisor V. Manuel Perez has officially terminated Stephen Hernandez from his role as Chief of Staff. It follows Hernandez's guilty plea to a felony conflict of interest charge and his resignation as mayor of Coachella. In a statement, Perez confirmed, quote, Stephen Hernandez no longer works for the County of Riverside. Supervisor Perez terminated his employment today, end quote. Hernandez entered a guilty plea earlier this week at the Indio Larson Justice Center, admitting he willfully made a government contract in which he had a financial interest. As part of the plea deal, Hernandez will no longer be able to hold public office here in the state of California. He'll serve probation, complete community service, and also face a lifetime ban on owning weapons. This Saturday, there will be thousands of No Kings rallies all over the nation in protest over the Trump administration. There's going to be a few rallies happening here in the Coachella Valley as well. Our Brett Rosen, he did speak to organizers about the expectation. We're going to hear more about that story. That's coming up right after this commercial break. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us here this evening. Coming up this Saturday, there will be thousands of No Kings rallies all over the nation, including right here in the Coachella Valley. Our Brett Rosen spoke to some organizers.
There will be multiple No Kings rallies throughout the Coachella Valley this Saturday. And the number one concern for the Palm Springs Police Department, as well as the organizers, is safety as people speak their minds. On Saturday, scattered throughout the nation, hundreds of No Kings rallies will take place, with 4 happening here locally in the Coachella Valley. And with over 1,000 signed up in Palm Springs, organizers believe another 2,000 more protesters will attend.
I had people come up to me and say, I'm sorry, I can't come to your rally. I'm doing this rally. I'm like, you're going out. That's all that matters. I think I heard there's 5 different rallies, but I couldn't even begin to tell you where they all are.
The No Kings rallies here in the Coachella Valley, what are you guys protesting for?
We're protesting to show that we're done with what's going on right now in our country. We're upset. This is our country.
Emily Vogt, who is one of the organizers of the rally in Palm Springs, says seeing all the signs come out and people voicing their thoughts are great. But what she hopes for is for people to then take action.
Come to our meeting, see what we're doing, register to vote, whatever it is, because the first step is coming to the rally. And that'll feel good for a while, but if you want to continue to feel good and make a difference, we need action.
Vogt says making sure everyone is safe is the number one concern. She says the organization has already warned those attending to be mindful of weather conditions if it gets too hot. And as for the amount of protesters and keeping it peaceful, The Palm Springs Police Department says they are not too concerned and prepared for everything.
We have adequate staffing dedicated and available. Again, over 1,000 people at City Hall utilizing their First Amendment rights to free speech. So we're eager to make sure that that event is safe for everybody who attends.
Again, the different No Kings rallies will be here in the Coachella Valley this Saturday. We will keep you updated on the very latest here on NBC Palm Springs, as well as our social medias and websites. Here in Palm Springs, I'm Brett Rosen, NBC Palm Springs.
Our thanks to Brett for that. 2 babies and an adult male were ejected from a vehicle in a rollover crash. It happened on Highway 86 in Coachella. Crash was reported just after 5:20 this evening. Officials thankfully said all the victims only suffered minor injuries. It's not clear what caused the crash. The incident remains under investigation. Have a look at this tonight. CAL FIRE crews on the scene of a tractor trailer fire. This is video of the fire captured by a passing driver. This is north of Palm Springs, off the 10 freeway in Whitewater, right at the rest area. CAL FIRE officials say that Palm Springs Fire helped them contain the flames. No injuries to report. Let's take a break from the headlines and get a check on tonight's forecast. We have live pictures from our Agua Caliente casino camera high above right there in Rancho Mirage. We're going to send things over to Pablo Alcina, who's standing by with the latest. Hey, Pablo.
Hey, Mark. Well, we were just as hot today as those Dodgers bats. Yeah, the champs, they were hitting it out, and we were getting hot here. Currently 88 degrees past 8 o'clock at night, and low humidity at 11%. But earlier today, we saw 100-degree heat all over the Coachella Valley. If you see now, it's still Yucca Valley kind of hot at 76, Thousand Palms at 86, Indio at 88. But Indio set a record in as far as hot temperatures today. The dew point relatively higher than normal, 44 degrees. So it does feel a little bit heavier, a little muggier than we're used to, especially in March. Wind gusts kind of low, just 4-mile-per-hour winds in Palm Springs. And our 3-day comfort air forecast, tomorrow should be the hottest day of the last 7 days. Saturday just as hot. Sundays we're going to start cooling off, and we're actually going to see 80s, but I'll tell you when I come back. Back over to Mark.
Pablo, thank you for that. Turning to some local headlines this evening. Today was Principal for a Day, held by the Palm Springs Unified School District. The annual program allows community leaders and business partners to shadow or step into the role of a school principal. Some of the participants included members that you might find familiar. They're right here, the NBC Palm Springs team, like Caitlin Kelly, also Antonio Marquez, Mario Campos, as well as myself. This is video that you're looking at from the luncheon that followed the campus work, held over at PSUSD headquarters. We heard from one of the governing board members today. Here's what they said.
We're very honored to have members of the community come in and visit our schools and see all the wonderful opportunities that we provide for our students. As we all know, being a principal sometimes can be a little tough, a little stressful, but it's always entertaining, it's always wonderful, and it's very, very rewarding.
And today's luncheon was prepared, catered, and served by students at the Rancho Mirage High School culinary program. And I was also invited to be principal today over at Cathedral City Elementary School. I wanted to share these photos. Their principal, Brenda Santana, was kind enough to let me fill in. I played double duty, in fact. Today was career day on campus, so I got to speak to students about working in journalism. You just saw photos from Mrs. Amezquita's class, also Miss Bobadia's and Miss Cardena's classes. They're all 5th graders. It was an honor to be a part of today. I want to thank them for inviting me, and we all hope to do it again next year. Turning to some news across the region this evening, the Cabazon mother accused in the death of her infant son, Emmanuel Haro, returned to court today as her case moves forward. Rebecca Haro faces murder charges and also filing a false police report after initially claiming that her 7-month-old son, Emmanuel, had been kidnapped. Investigators later determined that report was false, and the child is now presumed dead, his body still yet to be found. The case has already led to a conviction for the child's father, Jake Haro, who was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Rebecca Haro has pleaded not guilty and is set to return to court May 29th for a preliminary hearing. Property owners here in the Coachella Valley, listen up to this. The Riverside County Assessor's Office wants you to know about a scam where private companies are sending fake invoices for copies of property records. Those documents are already public, and they're free to obtain directly from the county. Officials say the letters may include accurate details about your property, but that does not make them official. The county does not send unsolicited payment demands for property records. If you get one of these letters, you're urged to call the following number. That's 955 6200. If you've ever wondered what's really behind your animal's eyes, this could be your chance to find out. Our assistant news director, Christine Clemens, is hosting a one-of-a-kind event connecting pet owners with animal psychics. The event also supports the Coachella Valley Cat Club, and it gives you a chance to listen to what your pets might just be thinking. Here's Kai Beach.
The healing for our pets, the healing for ourselves, it's just an amazing experience.
At Soda Voce Cafe in Palm Desert, they're serving up much more than coffee. They're tapping into the mystical.
And I close my eyes just for the distraction. So.
And soon you can connect with an animal communicator.
What is Bruce?
Bruce is a Maltese.
And hear what your pet is thinking.
It's a little weird. I think it's just really fun. I mean, what a great way to raise money to support our furry friends here in the Valley.
Peter Bedard is helping host a psychic paw raiser fundraiser. It's happening Saturday, April 4th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Gardens on El Paseo. Guests can enjoy psychic readings, tarot sessions, and time with animal communicator
He wants to please her.
Francis Greenspan.
Very cute. I do it telepathically, meaning I speak with their thinking voice and my thinking voice is probably the easiest way to describe it.
Readings are 15 minutes for $20
Are you mostly nice to him, buddy?
and benefit the Coachella Valley Cat Club.
So the idea is just to connect and to support everybody. It's a win-win for all. The psychics develop business. The people that come get to maybe hear a message from their loved one.
So, if you've ever wondered what your pet, past or present, is really thinking, this is your mystical moment. I'm Kai Beach with NBC Palm Springs.
Our thanks to Kai Beach tonight for that report. The American Documentary and Animation Film Festival, otherwise known as the AMDocs, is continuing to debut new projects in the city of Palm Springs. It's held every year since 2012. Hundreds of feature and short-length documentaries and animated films are shown each year, as well as music videos and student-made pieces. Today, local art icons Karen and Tony Baroni presented their story at the Palm Springs Cultural Center in a film titled Something to Entertain You. It's directed by John and Mary Orland. They also live in town. It shows an inside look at the Baronis' artistic vision and process as their large-scale public art pieces have become part of the desert's chic modern look.
This is the most exciting day, and we've had a number of them, I'm happy to say, including a star very recently. But today is a day of celebration after a 6-year interview span doing a documentary on Tony and myself, our love and our art.
We moved to the Coachella Valley about 20 years ago, and we founded a playground for our art. And our art is about entertaining people, making you happy. So the example, of course, are the 9 rabbits along the highway at 111 in Palm Desert. And the cities and the people have been very supportive of our work.
One of the most recognizable pieces by the Baronis are the 3-dimensional bunnies at the corner of Highway 111 and El Paseo in Palm Desert. If you'd like tickets to the screenings, you can get more information at andocfilmfest.com. Festival season is about to get underway, and the city of Indio is already putting road closures into effect. More of them going into effect just today. If you travel by the Empire Polo Grounds, know that Avenue 50 will be closed between Monroe and Madison Street. The closure will last until May 4th in anticipation of heavy traffic from the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival and also the Stagecoach Country Music Fest. Coachella runs April 10th through the 12th and the 17th through the 19th, and then Stagecoach is set for April 24th through the 26th. We have a map tonight. Shows you the heaviest impacted areas like Washington, Jefferson, and Monroe. They're going to bear the heaviest backups throughout the festivities. Chris Guntherson with CV Sync suggests you take Highway 111, Dr. Carrion Boulevard, and Avenue 48 as alternative routes. Avenue 52 is an option as well, but Chris noted it can also see heavy congestion. Turning to some headlines across the country tonight, nearly 500 TSA agents have quit since the partial government shutdown began. And now many more are calling out sick. According to the Department of Homeland Security, more than 3,100 of them didn't show up to work on Wednesday. That's a rate of 11.1%, which is a bit below the 11.7% record, which was set last Sunday. But those numbers are not distributed evenly. At Atlanta's airport, more than 40% of its agents did not show up yesterday as well. Airports in Houston and New Orleans saw similar rates. According to DHS, some agents are calling out because they can't afford gas, childcare, or rent. In health news this evening, a western Riverside County teenager has died from a flu-related illness, making it the first pediatric flu death of the year. Riverside County health officials say the death happened in early March and the teen had no underlying health conditions to talk about. A flu vaccination record was also not found. Nationwide, more than 150 pediatric flu deaths have been reported this season. Health leaders say this is a heartbreaking reminder that the flu can be life-threatening even for otherwise healthy kids. They're urging families to stay up to date on vaccinations, get tested if symptoms appear, and seek immediate care for severe warning signs like trouble breathing, chest pain, or dehydration. Today is also known as Purple Day. It's a time to raise awareness for epilepsy. More than 1 million U.S. women of childbearing age are living with this neurological condition, and experts say they face hidden health risks because of it. In tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither explains the extra toll epilepsy takes on young women.
It's a disorder of the brain that can cause unprovoked and unpredictable seizures.
Patients with epilepsy will say that that's one of the worst things about their epilepsy. They never know when it's going to come.
Dr. Danielle Becker with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center says epilepsy takes an extra toll on women and girls throughout their lives. Things like puberty, menstruation, pregnancy, post-pregnancy, and menopause can all lead to hormone fluctuations that may impact seizure severity, but she says treatments can help.
So even if we can't stop your seizures, but we know they're going to come around this time of month, the moment that you feel something, you would take this rescue medication to try to shut it down and also prevent it from occurring.
Becker says epilepsy and medications taken for it can also put bone health at risk, lead to birth control failure, and pregnancy complications. But she says with the care of a doctor or specialist, complications are rare.
As I have had patients come to my office and tell me that they were told that because they have epilepsy, they can't have a baby. And that is not true. And many, many patients with epilepsy have normal, healthy babies.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Live pictures tonight high atop there, the Palm Springs aerial tramway cam. Pablo Alcina standing by. Pablo, a trip up there sounds about nice. 40 degrees cooler, right?
It would be nice, but tomorrow will be hot. I'll be back with the forecast.
Plans are underway to modernize the National Weather Service. Part of that process will allow the Weather Service to store information on the cloud. NWS is part of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and NOAA announced it awarded 2 new contracts that will help provide the high-tech tools for the Weather Service. Those tools will allow forecasters to access and distribute weather information, warnings, and advisories without being in a specific location, and that information will be accessible remotely on a variety of devices, including mobile phones. Artificial intelligence tools will also be utilized to help forecasters with their weather predictions.
I'm Pablo Alsina. Happy Thursday. We almost made it to the weekend. Look at the Walter Clark Cam live shot. Not much traffic at all, and actually not much wind at the moment. For tomorrow, we'll be just as hot, between 99 to 103, so maybe slightly hotter than we were today. Very hot and dry. No clouds, so it's actually going to feel even hotter. But look at this. Today, we actually set a record. The record was 100. Today, registered at 101, between 100 and 101. So we either tied it or we beat the record by 1. So 23 days in March, we have set new records. It's been a hot, hot, hot March. We were also the hottest in the whole Southwest at 101. Phoenix came close at 100, but we said, no, we are the hottest in the area. We are los más caliente. A little Spanish lesson for you. Hot in Spanish is caliente. High temperatures around. Palm Desert 102 is very caliente there. Thousand Palms was at 101. Palm Springs also at 101. So definitely hot, hot all the way around. And tomorrow is going to be just as hot. As far as the wind goes, whitewater with winds between 20 and 29 miles an hour on Sunday. Most of the other areas, we're going to see winds less than 19 miles an hour. North and south of the I-10 for the next several days will be with winds less than 10 miles an hour. For tomorrow, for today in the afternoon, at midnight, we'll still be around 76. So you notice from 6 p.m. to midnight, we didn't cool off that much. We should be in the 50s, 60s this time of year, but nope, the heat is still lingering. Low temperatures, as you can see, will still be in the 70s in Palm Springs. And our 7-day comfort air forecast, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we should be seeing 100-degree temperatures most of the days, maybe Sunday, just a high of 98. But then look at this, we're going to cool off quickly. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we'll be back into those mid to high 80s. Have to love that. The 80s are back. I'm Pablo Alsina, at Pablo Alsina on Instagram.
NBC Palm Springs Sports, powered by Agua Caliente Casino.
Let's talk some local high school football this evening. Shadow Hills High School has officially announced they've found their new head varsity coach. School announcing head coach David Palmer was calling it quits at the end of last season after becoming the program's head coach in 2023. Now taking over is former Palm Springs High School athlete Nick King, who says he's excited to take over a program with so much potential.
All credit to Coach Palmer. You know, he did a great job. So I just kind of want to piggyback off him, the things that they liked, some things maybe that they would like to change, you know, or something fresh that I'd like to bring in and incorporate. But, you know, I just plan on coming in, bringing kind of a new perspective, a little bit new energy, and just trying to get these kids, you know, ready to go. You know, I'm not cookie cutter one way. I'll have certain principles, certain disciplines, but just in general with X's and O's, the situation in the game is kind of going to dictate, you know, what we're doing.
King is finishing his final year at the PE coach over at Raymond Cree Middle School in Palm Springs, but says he's already started getting to know his Knights family in the meantime.
Caliente Entertainment Report, brought to you by Orgua Caliente Casino, Cathedral City. Coachella Valley's month-long St. Patrick's Day pop-up.
The Academy Awards will officially be leaving Hollywood behind in the next few years. The Oscars will move from the Dolby Theater in Hollywood to the Peacock Theater in downtown Los Angeles. That's set to happen in 2029. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences said the venue change will align with the Oscars' new streaming home on YouTube, which also begins in 2029. The Academy added that the Peacock Theater will undergo comprehensive enhancements ahead of the switch. Until that time, the Oscars will be held at the Dolby Theater. That's through 2028. Paul McCartney has a new single out today. It's called Days We Left Behind. Variety reports he also announced a new album, his first in 6 years. The Boys of Dungeon Lane will be released in the month of May. The outlet reports the album is a look back at the former Beatles' childhood in Liverpool, England. If you thought planning a wedding was stressful, imagine a week where every moment brings you closer to a nightmare. Manny the Movie Guy is a sneak peek of something very bad is going to happen. It's out now on Netflix.
Hey, you were the one.
Rachel, played by Emmy nominee Camila Morone, is the one for Adam DeMarco's Nikki in this atmospheric horror series.
That's it. I'll marry you.
It gets under your skin. I couldn't shake it off like marriage or commitment.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
Created by Haley Z. Boston, who previously worked on brand new Cherry Flavor, the show dives deep into the anxiety of commitment.
So I was sort of dealing with my own fear of commitment, and I love horror, and it's just the way that I see the world. I see the bad in everything. This is...
And that bad vision follows an engaged couple, Rachel and Nikki, as they travel to a remote, snow-covered estate for their intimate wedding. But as the nuptials approach, the dream celebration turns into a slow-burn nightmare.
I was really excited to see a character that was like, to play something that was a little bit kind of darker.
Did we leave it at Hannah and Chad's?
Balancing Rachel's slowly creepy dark paranoia is Adam's blind optimism, who refuses to see the red flags.
I do like his optimistic side, and I think he provides a nice counterbalance to Rachel.
And that optimistic side is tested by his own family. Their mother, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Ted Levine as the patriarch.
To love.
Adding to the intrigue, the series is co-directed by Baby Reindeer's Veronica Trofilska and executive produced by the creators of Stranger Things, Matt and Ross Duffer, who fell in love with Boston's twisted and terrifying tale.
They empowered me to take this role and just supported me to make the show that I wanted to make.
Are you sure he's the one?
From the slow dread to the absurdity of finding your soulmate, you know something very bad is indeed going to happen.
Isn't that all that matters?
Maybe look at your partner after the show and ask some really hard-hitting questions.
Or renew your vows.
Yeah,
How
in
about
a big
that?
snowy cabin somewhere. All 8 episodes of Something Very Bad is Going to Happen are now available to stream on Netflix.
That's what you are.
I'm Manny the Movie Guy for NBC Palm Springs.
All right, finally tonight, Muggles around the world rejoicing. A 2-minute trailer for the new Harry Potter series has dropped. HBO Max is rebooting the tale of the orphan wizard with a very star-studded cast. We have John Lithgow, that's Hogwarts headmaster Albus Dumbledore. Janet McTeer stars as Professor Minerva McGonagall, and then Nick Frost is Rubeus Hagrid. Arabella Stanton is Hermione Granger, and Alistair Stout is Ron Weasley, and Dominique McLaughlin is the titular Harry Potter. The 8-episode series is set to be released on Christmas Day. Are you a big Harry Potter fan, Pablo?
I've seen one of them, I think.
You've seen one of them?
And
I believe there's 7 or 8, so you've got some homework to do.
I saw one. It was raining. I was in Mexico, so I went inside a theater and I saw one. That's the only one I've seen.
We'll put it on the list. Thanks for staying with us. We're back at 11. Good